to the 27th episode, the very best episode of the One Bite at a Time show. This is where we research the most relevant information in your business in today's market, and we give it to you one bite at a time. So today looks a little different because Steve is feeling under the weather. So for today's topic, we're going to talk about something very serious. And I'm going to be giving you the top 5 real estate scams. And not only am I going to give you what the scams are, we're going to talk about how the scam actually happens. So number 1. Closing wire fraud. So this is a big topic. It's been happening for years, but closing wire fraud. If you've noticed, your title company or your escrow company has verbiage within their email signatures saying wire fraud is real. Do not accept wire instructions via email. So the way that this scam actually happens is there are very sophisticated software that monitors people's emails. Once the perpetrator catches wind that your client is within a real estate transaction, they're able to monitor their email, and once the timing is right, they will send an email to the buyer acting as if they are the escrow or title company. Within days of the closing table, when your buyer would normally wire in the remaining amount for their funds to closing to escrow, instead of wiring it to escrow, they would end up wiring the funds to the perpetrator. Hundreds of thousands of dollars possibly are gone, vanished. And there's been many times that police department are unable to help replenish these funds. They're very sophisticated at what they do, and that's why it's very important to educate your buyers, especially your first-time home buyers, that wire fraud is real. They should never be wiring funds to escrow without a phone call to escrow or opting into escrow and title's secured portal. If they are just taking wiring instructions via email, this is the wrong way to do business. This is how wire fraud can happen. So make sure, again, you're educating your clients, protecting yourself, putting the little verbiage within your email, letting everybody who's in contact with you know that they should not accept wiring instructions via email. Number 2, the We Buy Houses scam. I'm sure you guys have driven around the city and have seen these signs. It's basically just a plain sign like this that says, "We buy houses." And it has a phone number. That's it. No information, no license number. And this is how the fraud happens. Normally, desperate buyer calls this number hoping to find relief and to be able to exit out of their home or not deal with renovating it, things of that nature. These scammers will go ahead and create a transaction so that way the seller has already signed off on the deed before any money is exchanged. Now that the scammer has possession of the home, they're able to rent it out for profit, and the homeowner is still on the hook for the mortgage that's on the property. Number 3, vacation rental scams. So as we all know, the past, maybe 5 years or so, Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rentals have been all the craze, right? People are stopping from using the traditional hotel and they'd rather stay in a home away from other people. And Airbnb is a great experience for a lot of families. But what has been happening right now is that there are people who go on Airbnb or VRBO websites that create these fake profiles, or they're even out there advertising for someone else's home that is on the market for short-term rental as if it's their short-term rental. What ends up happening is as the person is getting ready to book that short-term rental, the scammer takes them to a whole different website in order to capture in their credit card information. And by that time, the person no longer has a vacation rental. They're also out whatever was charged on their credit card, plus their credit card information is now given to a third party that will probably rack up their credit card spending in other places. It's important that we educate consumers to make sure they stay within the reputable website of booking their short-term rental. Once they veer off to another website, that is when their information is subject to a scam. Number 4, fraudulent foreclosure relief. So this is a big one, guys, especially now that the feds have announced they want to continue to raise interest rates. When interest rates are continuing to increase, it's more likely that bigger companies are going to have massive layoffs in the future. I am not trying to put a damper on the news that is going on, but that is just the reality of what we're possibly going to face in the future. And if that happens, there will be an influx of foreclosure. Now, that doesn't mean the market's going to crash. We all know that banks are more than willing to work with homeowners in order to keep them in the home. And it is a matter of us educating our homeowners to make sure that they reach out to their servicer directly if they are in dire need and cannot qualify for a refinance for their home. With that being said, these scams will be on the rise. If it's indicated as public record that a house is in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, you will have people door knocking neighborhoods trying to act as if they are there to help the homeowner in order to help them with the foreclosure process. They will collect an application fee anywhere from $500 to $5,000. And some of these people are very vulnerable and think that they're willing. They don't want to deal with it, and they will go ahead and pay this money. But it is all a scam. And number 5, last but not least, short-term rental overpayment. Now, you may not have heard of this. I didn't hear of this, but when I looked into what this actual fraud is, I have heard of this fraud happening before. Now, it's not just with short-term rentals, although that's going to be the example, but I've also had a client personally that this happened to, and it was through PayPal. It wasn't PayPal, but it was someone acting as if they were working for PayPal. So let's just say you went ahead and you booked your Airbnb vacation and it cost you $600. Well, the perpetrator would call you because they got some type of notification that you already booked the Airbnb. They have the amount, where it's going to be at. It's going to be kind of scary because they know a lot about your situation. Hey, there was a problem with the reservation. We're going to go ahead and issue you a refund. So they're going to issue you a quote unquote refund of $600. But instead of them refunding you $600, they end up refunding you $6,000. So you think the person's on the other line is frantic. Oh my gosh, how did I make this mistake? I'm so sorry. And instead, and what they ask you to do is if you could please return the $5,400 in overpayment back to them. You think you're doing the right thing. You're helping save this person their job. And you end up wiring what you think you're getting, a $6,000 credit. You end up wiring back $5,400. But the reality is you've just wired them for $5,400 and there is no $6,000 credit. That is definitely a tough pill to swallow. And the best thing that we can do, again, is educate our consumers. Educate consumers, because this is not just a real estate scam. This is actually a big scam that can happen to anybody. We get emails from people who are acting as if they're Amazon, PayPal, things that we use every single day, where these perpetrators know that people, it's more likely that you are a consumer using these platforms, and you would potentially be falling for this scam. So that's it for today's show, guys. I know it seems very scary that these scams are available, but the good news is we can go ahead and help our clients. We can help consumers educate. I've just helped you create a bunch of content that you can go ahead and post on your social media. You can make videos out of this, reels. You can type up a blog-like type content. If you need any help with your social media, feel free to give us a call here at Vintage Mortgage Firm. And if you have any questions about today's topic, again, give us a call. We'd love to go over it with you and come up with a strategy to ensure that your buyers and sellers are protected. So before we head out into the market update, I just want to do a little bit more housekeeping. Make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Share the content if you have another realtor friend that would find this information very useful. And don't forget, guys, once you opt into the show and subscribe to our YouTube channel, send us an email and we can send you the One Bite at a Time show mug. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great week with your family.